coming straight to your question, we are going to implement it straight away from this morning. We are ready, we are prepared, and we're going to implement the directive immediately.
All right, so the directive is going to be immediate. That means before the end of the day, Rivers people, Port Harcourt people should be able to see all 200 Naira notes back into circulation.
Sure. We're working with our banks, and I want to believe that our banks are also prepared to inject it fast into the system. We work through the banks. We're going to release it to the banks this morning, and we rely on them to be fast in distributing it to all their branches. We'll clarify issues about limits. I know this announcement by the president has just been made. So what I can assure you here for now is that we are injecting a lot of the 200 Naira notes, but issues about limits will be clarified in later communication from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Okay, now that being said, for Port Harcourt people who, as you obviously know, have been pretty much patient and understanding, apart from maybe a few hiccups yesterday, what about those people who are in parts of Port Harcourt where there are no banking halls, places like Onelga, for example, a lot of banking halls in Ogoni. They don't have a banking presence. It's not official bank. So what systems, are in place from the CBN to actually service those customers, those Nigerians?
Okay, unfortunately, CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, does not do retail banking. We rely on banks to distribute this cash to the public. But what we have done in the past is to encourage banks that have mobile ATMs to deploy them. Many people will have seen it in the past. We deployed it to NYSC camp day before yesterday and yesterday. We deployed the mobile ATM at the Air Force markets around Rumukushu market. We deployed it at Borokri. So we have been deploying it in various places. We'll continue to take it round to such locations. But in terms of structure, it is the banks that are going to put their presence in all these places to deploy the money. But besides that, banks, we are working with banks, and we encourage Nigerians to do so much to adopt this cashless policy, but in the interim and within available resources, we will still use this mobile ATM. We don't have many of them, unfortunately, but we also encourage our banks to see how their branches in all these places will be funded, since we're going to release a lot of these new notes to them.
Okay, all right. So a lot of the old 200 denominations are definitely going to be pumping beginning from this morning. But what about the new notes? Because the new notes apparently have become a bit of a problem, particularly here in Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt main city, its allied regions, Obiakpor, Falga, and even the M1. Not a lot of people have seen or even held the new notes. So what about the new notes?
We're going to also continue to inject the new notes. It may interest you to note that from the beginning of this year, talk of January to date, we have injected 13 billion naira of the new notes into banks in Port Harcourt. 13 billion naira. We will continue to inject it, and we hope that our banks will make it available to the public. We're also stepping up our monitoring to make sure that the banks use them.